was in like a recruit period where I had to do anything and everything I was told to do to prove myself worthy.
And those include what kind of thing?
Well, listen, it could have been something very menial. There's a lot of discipline in that life, a lot of authority. You had a meeting at 7 o'clock. You weren't there at 6:30. You were late. Could never be late in that life. Drive the boss to a meeting, sit in the car for 5 hours. God forbid you leave, you go get a newspaper, the restroom, he comes out, you're not there, you're in trouble. I know I did that once, paid the price. But, a lot of stuff like that. I mean, you had to show that you could take authority and that you were disciplined and so on and so forth. Right? Yeah. And then, look, I'm always as honest as I can be about that. The life is very violent. And if you're part of that life, you're part of the violence. And there's no escape. Anybody tells you differently, they're either not being honest with you or they weren't a made member of that life.
Mm. That went on for how many years?
About 2 years, 18 months, 2 years, something like that. I was in this recruit period.
And you were good? Everybody thought you were a good fit? And what happened?
Seems that way, yeah. It was Halloween night, 1975, when I was called into a room with 5 other gentlemen, all recruits. And the interesting thing at that point was that they had an expression just before that period where the books were closed in that life, meaning they weren't bringing in any new members formally. And in the early 70s, they opened up the books, and I was inducted with guys that were waiting 20, 25 years. They were recruits that long, yeah. So it was kind of a mix in there that night, but we all took an oath that night, became sworn, made members of the Colombo family.
How many?
There were 6 of us.
6 of you?
Yeah.
And you were how old?
I was 24.
24. And so, I heard a story of those 6 gentlemen that were inducted that night. How many of them are still around?
Well, out of the 6 of us, I'm the only one alive.
Yeah.
The other 5 were they all died, and from what I understand, they were all murdered.
Yeah. It's a dangerous, treacherous career, isn't it?
It's a tough life. No doubt.
And there was a ceremony involved as well, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that briefly.
It was a very solemn ceremony, dimly lit room late at night. They wanted you to understand the seriousness of what you were getting involved in. And we walked into a room individually. The boss was seated at the head of like a horseshoe configuration, underboss consigliere to his left and right, and all the captains alongside of them. We had about 15 in our family at that point. Walked down the aisle, stood in front of the boss, held out my hand, takes a knife, cuts my finger, some blood drops on the floor. This is a blood oath. I cupped my hands. He took a picture of a saint, Catholic altar card, put it in my hands, lit it aflame. Didn't hurt, it burned quickly. It was